Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Curiosities, and I'm joined by my very special friend, Mr. Mike McDonald. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joe. Appreciate that. That's
It's,
awesome.
have you gotten past page one of the Ouroboros?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, my
Yes.
God. Damn,
Yes.
I lost the bet, and I got to pay money. Thanks a lot, man. Well, Mike, as you probably would imagine, there's been a lot of people buying the book.
Yes.
And
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. One of the things that I've been getting are a lot of compliments and a lot of people talking about, the story. And I want to give a special shout out to this is Joe Hadley. He's one of the biggest. He's one of our strong supporters, Mike. He's been watching.
Heck yeah.
He's watching all of our episodes. He says, and he's a big fan. He got his copy of the Ouroboros, and he was really proud of that and decided to share that with me. So thank you, Joe. Hopefully you enjoy the book. Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's a good book, man.
Yeah, he's digging.
Definitely a good book.
For sure. So, Mike, the border wall. There's in recent weeks, especially on the news, you've been hearing a lot of people, especially like in New York and Chicago, but really all across the country where there's been a large influx of illegal immigrants or undocumented people or whatever descriptor you want to use. It's becoming becoming burdensome, especially like in New York. Have you been watching?
Oh yeah. How can I not watch? This is something that's been going on for a number of years, and since the implementation of this administration, we've seen incalculable number of border crossings. The amount of drugs and human trafficking going across the border has gone up. This is an astronomical amount. Okay, and this administration has the nerve to blame it on the previous administration when we had some of the lowest number of crossings during that presidency.
It seems like the Biden administration has been under a lot of pressure regarding the influx of illegal immigrants into this country. Do you think that the building of the border wall is a reflex of that, or are you buying this excuse that they keep giving about, oh, well, it was Trump who did it. Trump was doing it.
No. Here, Biden, I think, got pushed up against two major roadblocks. Okay. One, his popularity. Okay. Because of the border crisis has gone all the way into some of the bluest areas in the country. Manhattan, New York City, New York State. Okay. Being a large component of that. Chicago. You have these demonstrations that are going on in the schools in Chicago where a basketball team had to give up their facility because they couldn't practice to house migrants.
That these families, who, by the way, they're not illegal. They're asylum seekers.
He should be taking himself to helping the community here and making sure that he is handling the crisis that's here.
We're calling on the mayor and the governor to freeze the language of Sanctuary City.
Well, 600-700 parents came in and protested that, and good for them. Okay, because they didn't ask for that. And I'm sorry, but Chicago's not exactly the most stable place to be right now. Because
I want to before you get too ahead of yourself, Mike, I want to share this this article with you because even within his own party, Biden is finding that there are people who are not. They may have had their hearts in the right place when they agreed to do all this stuff with letting immigrants in, like just walking over the border like that. But now that it's in their backyard, now that it's on their front door, now that it's coming out of their pockets to actually pay for it.
Well, it's not just their pockets; it's their space.
So here's a New York Post article. It reads, AOC demands Biden's reverse course on cruel border wall construction. Now, I want to play for you a little clip. Well, we already looked at the AOC responses, but before we get into her responses, let's see what this article has to say first, Mike, okay? Let's just get into this article. It says, President Biden's decision to resume building the border wall he was so strongly against is being ripped by his own party with Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez demanding
Not one more foot. Not one more foot.
Reverse the course and stop his cruel policy.
Of course. Of course.
This is cruelty. The New York Democrat fired off a statement Thursday taking the Biden administration to task for waiving 26 federal laws to speed up the construction of new sanctions of the border wall in Texas in a bid to keep migrants out. Now,
we have to think of the turtles.
No, I realize that, but I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say Jean-Claude Pierre, but it's Karine Jean-Pierre. What is she, like the Biden's?
She's a press secretary. She's a press secretary.
At times, I feel like she's de facto president because he never talks to the press hardly. But anyways, she was pressed by Peter Doocy of Fox News about the border wall, and of course, she wanted to squirm around like she normally does.
You want us to not be in administrations that follow the rule of law.
Do this all the time. The student loans, the student loan forgiveness program. You went to court to fight for that. If this is such a problem, building 20 miles of wall, why not just go to court?
We went to Congress. The Congress appropriates the funding.
Why not
Congress
fight them more?
Congress appropriates the funding. We asked them to not use that funding for that particular purpose. They denied it, and now we're complying with the law.
If you have to build a border wall,
Now we're complying with the law.
Now they want to comply.
Then once it's done, are you just going to tear it down?
I'm not getting into hypotheticals from here.
It's funny when it suits
I
them.
think he struck a chord there, to be honest.
When it suits them, they love hypotheticals. They love it. Well,
Of course.
MAGA and Trump supporters are
Extremists.
and they're dangers to society and our democracy. Now they love those kinds of hypotheticals. But when they are pressed about something like building the border, well, this is hypocrisy at its worst, Mike.
It totally is. But this is something like, was anybody surprised that this was going to happen? Think about that for a second.
Well, see, in some ways, I am kind of surprised, though, Mike, because he was so adamant about not building the wall.
I understand that, but anybody, even I mentioned when the administration changed hands and he talked about not one more foot. I remember thinking, wait a minute, the money's already appropriated for that purpose. They can't just wave a magic wand and let it down. He let it sit and fester for a while, right? The materials were delivered. They were delivered at the border. They were just in the wrap, and not only that, a lot of the materials were stolen. Okay.
Maybe
because
building a wall over there.
Who knows? Shoot, man. Maybe the cartels were able to sell it on, for scrap metal to make more guns. I have no idea. Okay.
This administration, and more specifically, this press secretary always finds creative ways to become more and more appalling. I mean, she must think that the American people are stupid. Well, okay.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no.
All right, there are some that are clearly because they voted for this guy, but not everybody is. Okay,
right.
And people that are just normal, everyday people, like I don't claim to be a big time YouTuber like Tim Cass or any of those people who make it. That's all they ever do is talk about stuff. I'm wondering when those guys actually step out of their studios and actually go out into the world and participate and stuff. But I digress.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
I digress. Okay, but we're out here in the real world. We're working, we're paying our taxes, we're doing our thing, and we're actually in the flux of society, in the flux of the world. And these people are making policy decisions that are effective, which is probably why a lot of New Yorkers are up in arms about this immigration thing. Like, it has to be. Yeah,
but Fox News had a guest panel in Manhattan, and they were asking, hey, are you leaning towards Biden or Trump? And they're like, Trump all the way, And I'm like, they were like, whoa, what the hell is that? I mean, and here's the thing: I'm not a huge Trump fan. All right, I think he's kind of an asshole, but you can't deny that during his administration, things were a lot better.
Anyway, let's go back to that article that we originally started with, Mike. Mm-hmm. The Biden administration was not required to expand construction of the border wall. This is a very important point. They were not required to expand the construction of the border wall, and they certainly were not required to waive several environmental laws to expedite the building, the Bronx and Queens lawmakers said. The president needs to take responsibility.
Like she's so well versed on the law.
Well, somebody told her, and she's just regurgitating what somebody else said. The president needs to take responsibility for this decision. I know, it's like somebody inserted that NPC card back, pulled it out, and put another one in. The president needs to take responsibility for this decision and reverse the course. The progressive rep maintained that a wall does nothing to deter people who are fleeing poverty and violence from the coming to the United States. Mike, what the hell is this woman talking about?
She's regurgitating word salad, and she's saying a lot of buzzwords, right? Now, I would like AOC to present some evidence where it says anywhere in any official documents of the United States that if you're poor, the United States is where you should go by default.
Yeah.
Skip over 20 different countries, fly around the world, land in Mexico, and then walk across the border. What law is that? The United Nations, if I recall correct, and I could be wrong about this, but there is a charter for asylum seekers. I'll just point that out.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. This is a whole other issue. We should pick another topic for another day. Mike, I want to thank you for being on Curiosities and continuing your contributions to the show. It's really a different vibe with you, and I'm totally happy that we continue this. This is great. This is awesome. So we're going to end that now. Don't forget to get your copy of Ouroboros. The link is going to be below. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on X, follow me back. Or if you are following me, please share us with other people. Mike, it's always a wonderful time. To stick around. We're going to do another one. Until next time, everyone. God bless.
New Kingdom Radio Theater.